everybody. My name's Anya. I know you normally see me, hosting church, but I'm taking a step pretty far outside my comfort zone today, and I'm going to be sharing the message with you guys. So prepare for a lot of that awkwardness during this time. So hopefully, at least one of you guys gets to see, really impacted by what I say today. All right, so the theme of Youth Sunday, if you guys didn't guess it already, is called Who's Watching? So I thought it would be a good time to talk about something that, as Christians, we all are commanded to do in our daily lives, and it might seem pretty simple, but it's actually, in my opinion, one of the hardest things to do as a Christian, and that's to be Christ-like. Now, it seems pretty self-explanatory. Christ-like, the name is pretty much the definition. But I went and pulled a definition off online, and it said, being Christ-like is defined by a person who has qualities like Jesus Christ. Qualities like kindness, forgiveness, sincerity, and a caring heart. Now, while those are all great, I don't think that's truly truly everything it means to be Christ-like. Yes, Jesus was a very kind, caring, forgiving person. He still is. But if he was just those things, he'd just be one of us. He'd just be a person who was really kind, really forgiving, and really sincere with people. But he was way more than that. He was the person that went against the flow of society. He was the complete opposite of what everyone was at that time. And it made people look. It made people notice, like, hey, this guy's different. What's so different about him? Not the fact that he performed miracles, that he raised people from the dead, just walking in the streets, people noticed that he was different. So how can we, as humans, be like Christ in that sense? Well, I'm just going to pull one little example of how we can do that, and this is from my personal experience, and this is on the topic of language and swearing. I feel like it's something in society that we encounter every single day, whether that be over social media, just walking through the hallways in school, being at our work. Like, we encounter it every day, and it's viewed as such a casual thing in society today. But actually, in Matthew 15, verses 18 and 19, it says, but the things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart, and these things defile them. For out of their heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, and slander. So using that kind of language with people, it really doesn't just hurt them, it also hurts you. It hurts your heart. It kind of just multiplies all of these evil things in your heart with something that's so simple. It's something started out so small. So I'm going to kind of share a little bit of a personal story here. My parents do not know this story, so I might be opening up a little bit of a can of worms here, but we're going to do it because, yeah. So a few years ago, I was not in public school. I was homeschooled. I did cyber school. I hadn't been to a public school since I was in 5th grade. So I talked to my parents, and I decided that I wanted to go back to public school. I wanted to, be with my friends in high school. I wanted to have that, experience of a kid in high school, getting to go to prom and homecoming, all that stuff. And I forget what's... Hello? Ah, they're back again. I was going to say I could yell, but I don't think that would have been as sincere. Anyway, so I forget how the conversation started, but we came up on the topic of swearing and the fact that you're going to be around it every day, and if you're around people that swear a lot, then you are going to swear, is what my mom said to me. And being the teenager that I was, and still am, I obviously disagreed with her. I told her that I was not going to do that. I wasn't going to, be a part of that thing. So I made a pact with myself. I said, okay, going into public school this year, I will make it a point to not use a single swear word through the entire school year. I thought it was just going to be so easy. I'm just going to walk through life, just being this good person, not using any language. It was really hard. I'm not going to lie. You're making friends in classes with Christians and non-Christians alike that are using this type of language, and it's really hard not to join along in that. People are using it in jokes, and it makes it really funny, and then you want to do it because, you want to make your jokes even funnier, like you're mad, you just want to, get everything out, all that kind of stuff. It was really hard. But I ended up doing it. I ended up going through the last day of school, and I hadn't said anything throughout the whole time. But on the last day of school, as I stepped outside the school boundary, I was like, I did it. But instead of continuing that, okay, I'm going to try for next year now. I'm not going to do it next year or this summer. I fell into that, and I started using that kind of language with my friends over the summer. And it has been really hard to stop. And I really, really, really wish that I would have kept that going, that I would have kept, moving along with this thing, because I noticed that when I was in school and I wasn't using that language, and I was around, pretty much everybody around me used that language. And I had people come up to me, like just random people, sometimes people I didn't even know, would come up to me and be like, hey, why don't you do this? Like, what is your deal? It's like, what's going on? And I was able to share with them, like, hey, I don't do this because that's not what Jesus would do. And I'm trying to be like Jesus. And it was really amazing. I didn't really think that would happen. I thought, it's just something people say to get you to behave better or something like that. But no, it's a real thing that happens. And it happened to me. And I wish to this day that I would have kept going with it, because I could have shared so much more with people if I would have kept going with that. And that's a struggle that I have to deal with in my heart and still working on to this day. But the point is, if you're different, if you go against something like that, people are going to notice. People notice, even if they don't say anything, they notice something about you that's different. And that's part of what made Jesus so amazing. And people watch him all the time. People want to listen to what he had to say because he was so different from any of the rest of us. In Romans 12:2, it says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good and pleasing and perfect will. So by not going along with what the world wants you to be, you're living out God's will. You're living out what he wants you to be. We weren't made to just go along with the flow, to just blend into society. We were made to stand out like Christ did in that time of his life. And there's many ways that we can do this. It's not just that. I picked that because it was something that I know I had struggling in my life and that a lot of people encounter today, but it might be something completely different for you. It might be, anger, trying to be less angry, trying to have more patience. Maybe you got into a fight with your parents or your friends, and you're now the one that has to apologize first, even though you don't feel like you did anything wrong. That is a huge step in being more like Jesus. So another way that we can be like Christ is especially in times of tragedy. I know a lot of you know that there was an accident at Warwick High School on Friday night that took one of the lives of one of our fellow students, and 2 others are still fighting for their life. And in those times of tragedy, we get a lot of these questions like, why? Why did this happen? Why did this young person who was no more than 17 years old, why was his life taken from him? Why is he no longer with us? He had so much life. Why? Why did this happen? And those are the situations, while we might not have these answers, we know the person that does. And we have the opportunity to share with that person, look, I don't have the answer right now. Maybe none of us do, but I know somebody who does, and his name is Jesus, and this is what he does. It opens doors. It really does. I was at the visual on midnight, the night of the accident, and there was a massive amount of people there, around 200 people. We were all gathered around the circle, and we were all just sharing stories about the people that got hurt and the one kid that died. And there was just people just off just like praying in little circles, like people that earlier in the school year when I used to, be walking through the halls, thought that they wanted nothing to do with that. They were around, they were getting prayed for, they were praying for people. It was just incredible that through this tragedy, something that beautiful could happen, and that is because of Jesus. That is because of Christ, that he allows us to go into these dark moments in our lives, in the world, and just bring light. Just be the light of the world. And honestly, personally, one of my favorite passages in Scripture is Matthew 5:14-16. It states that you are the light of the world, a city set on a hill that cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand to give light to all of the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. That is what we're meant to do in this society. Being Christ-like, we can then show our light to the world. We can bring hope to people in the middle of tragedies. That is what we are made to do. And that is what we should be doing every single day, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how much hate we get from it. We are here to do this. And even the simple, small things make the biggest difference. So thank you for letting me share today. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.